Hello, you're listening to Reviewing History, your comedy history podcast. I'm filmmaker and teacher Brian Rupert, joined here by...
As always, Stephen Jack
And Ancelotti. Hi.
Low energy.
How are you doing, folks? Well, I do declare it is time to talk about the Civil War, gentlemen.
Sir, I do believe I must correct you. It is the war of northern aggression.
yes, you're right.
I mean no offense to you, but I must say, you are speaking out of turn.
Steve is the Brit, just wondering about why we think this shit.
You said that it was so crazy. Very eccentric.
So we're doing 1993's Gettysburg today.
Yes.
Have you guys seen it before?
No.
I have seen it once before.
Same.
I have heard it sung to me probably hundreds of times.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen the movie, but I know every beat.
This just has to be said.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
So we gotta bring it up.
A big part of
Spoiler, this is the song we're picking for
Yeah.
the movie.
Song pick,
a big part of our lives for the last 20 years, since 2004, has been the album The Glorious Burden by Iced Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
It's a concept
it
album.
is a concept album where
You don't
the
say.
main guy in the band, John Schaefer, has written a bunch of songs about historical events. Now, the crowning piece of this album is a 3-part epic. It's a half hour of music.
Yep.
Called Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And
Kicks ass.
it's amazing.
It
it's
rules.
God tier. Yeah.
He wrote the movie. He didn't write about the battle. And I realized that watching. I didn't realize that this is not a song about Gettysburg,
It's a
the
song
battle.
about
This is a
the-
song about Gettysburg, the movie.
Yeah.
He takes dialogue from the movie and makes it the lyrics of the song. He takes musical themes from the movie and makes it the music of the song. It's ridiculous. It's incredibly cheesy. And I love every fucking second.
Did you re-listen to it after this?
I did not, but I will be listening to it.
I listen to
Yeah.
it every year.
Right.
Right.
Well, it's a
4th of
4th of July tradition amongst our friends
Yeah.
that we'll get together and we listen to Gettysburg like some religious ceremony.
We all stand up. We stand up during the intro, like it's like waving a flag in front of us.
Well, and listeners, I hope wherever you are, even if you're a foreigner, I hope this 4th of July,
Listen
you
to
just throw on the Glorious Burden.
Specifically the Gettysburg trilogy.
Yeah.
Just a mile or so away. And you're sitting there like, this is awesome. And then you watch Gettysburg, you're like, motherfucker.
Like what a hack. Schaefer is a hack.
Well, he was counting on the fact that nobody saw this movie.
No, he's not. I think people
Wasn't
know
it
this
big?
movie. This movie's legendary.
It bombed.
It bombed, but it's legendary amongst history people.
Yes. Well, it's insanely accurate.
Yes.
It's too accurate to the point where I was like, I get it, man. I get it. I
The mo-
don't need this much.
The movie is literally just people
It's a
talking about military strategy and tactics.
That's the whole thing.
And then gunfire.
Right.
Like, that's it. There's no story here for you to
No.
sink your teeth
There's
into.
not a single check.
No.
No.
It's the battle.
Yeah.
There's no
They
like,
don't even like include the civilians.
Right.
Like, this is a much bigger battle than the movie portrays.
Okay.
Right? Like the movie's focusing on some dramatic events that happen
Uh-huh.
throughout the 3 days. Whereas there are other things happening. Like the civilians of Gettysburg are kind of integral to everything that's happening. They get involved in the fight.
Okay, I
and
didn't
the
know that.
hospital shit.
You can
Beyond
only-
that,
you can
like
only
there's
do so
battles,
much.
there's fighting happening in different sections of the line than the movie shows you.
Yeah.
But like, how could you even make that a
It's
movie?
impossible.
It's
right?
focused on the single
It
character.
takes the important dramatic moments and it puts them on screen in vivid detail.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's fucking amazing. This movie's amazing.
great.
It's very good.
It's so fucking nerdy.
Yeah. Yes.
You cannot enjoy this if you are not into history.
Well, as I was
Right.
watching, within like 15 minutes, I'm thinking to myself, if you're not into military history, this is absolutely unwatchable.
Did you watch it with your wife?
No, I watched it alone. She
My
would have
wa-
hated it.
My wife came in and watched like maybe like the middle like 30 minutes, and I was like explaining some shit to her. She's like, yeah, okay. She just
Yeah.
went on her
Yeah.
phone.
Just not interested.
There were some
Yeah.
scenes in this that I was like really hit by. I was like, wow, this is awesome. You know, the moments before Pickett's
Yeah.
charge. Like, I'm like, this is actually what I wanted to see. A lot of the movie, I was kind of sitting there like, can this like go a little faster? Like, please.
By the way, we watched the short version.
Yeah,
we didn't
which
watch
is
the
4
director's
hours
cut.
long.
Yeah,
4
hours and 10 minutes.
it is
like,
the
yeah.
longest, of the longest movie ever released by a major studio.
Is it really?
Yes.
Thank you for picking the longest possible work for us, Anthony.
I didn't pick
No, this was mine.
Brian.
You're lucky I specifically didn't say director's cut and
I
tack on
came
another
close.
30.
I came close to watching the director's cut. I saw it and I was like, it'd be really funny if I did this to Brian because it happened with us before.
Yeah. I wish
Wow,
you
I'm
did.
glad. I would have not. I wouldn't have made it.
An extra 30 minutes.
I wouldn't have made it into this.
Yeah, it's an ordeal.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you've been
Been
through
to
it.
war, Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Steve came out.
I've been to
I have
I was part of the
PTSD.
Battle of Gettysburg watching this
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
Steve cut his leg off. All right.
Yeah.
So should we do some background on where we are in the war? We don't,
Yeah, okay.
Obviously, American Civil War. We know the reasons. Yeah. Let's
Well, we'll
not-
get that actually comes into play in
This
the movie
could get
because they,
so deep, though.
yeah,
So
I
we
mean, we
gotta
could talk
tread.
about this for hours.
Yeah.
But
Shows,
I'm
episodes.
not going to do that. We'll keep it
Yeah.
to what this movie is about. 1863, the war is
July.
a nation torn in tragedy.
One would say a twist of fate.
Two great armies. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing
Oh,
that.
I'm doing it. Yeah, there's a couple of Iced Earth fans just like, this is good.
The war is 3 years old. The South finds itself in an interesting situation. In the West, they're losing.
Vicksburg is happening.
Vicksburg is under siege at this moment.
It's like
and,
they're parallel, right?
yeah,
which
at
is-
the same moment. Vicksburg is under siege.
And that's would you say that's Grant's big achievement?
Let's talk about the Anaconda Strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, a guy named Winfield Scott,
Yep.
who was kind of the premier American general before the Civil War. He's a very old man when it begins. He came up with a scenario, a strategy, to subdue the southern states in the event of rebellion.
Cut the supply lines in
Mhm.
half.
It's called the
Strangle.
Anaconda Plan, and the way it works is you have to control the
Oh, I thought
Mississippi
Nicki
River.
Minaj has to sing about.
No, no, no.
Yes, it's
Jennifer-
about
no, no.
big dicks.
Yeah.
No, Jennifer Lopez has to come in and kind of help you tread the jungle.
Ah, yes,
You gotta get John Voight.
Dixie don't kill people.
Oh no,
it
they
don't.
don't.
Owen Wilson will be your scout. It'll be good.
Ice Cube is there. He's running fast from the south.
Freed slave.
So you have to control the Mississippi River, and what that effectively does is cut the
The
Confederacy in half. Places like Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas are cut off from the east
Yep.
and knocked out of the war, pretty much.
Supply lines for them are done.
And the absolutely giant naval blockade. The North has all of the naval supremacy in this conflict, and just keep the rest of the world out of the South. So they cannot do business.
Supplies
They
can't
ca-
get in.
Right. So the only way to get in or out of the Confederacy is by running the blockade, which people will do to various levels of effect.
It's a layer of difficulty.
Yes. And the idea is over time, the war-making ability of the southern states will evaporate. And it's going to take time, and there'll be blood, but eventually you will win this.
And that is what happens.
Yes, but on top of that, it's not a popular strategy because people want this to be quick and
Yeah.
over. So you still have to invade the South. You can't just do this forever.
And you have to worry about elections.
Right. Yes. Well, this is America,
Yeah.
and people can lose elections and lose wars through elections.
Mhm.
Vicksburg is the last city on the Mississippi before the Union has complete control over it. They've invaded from New Orleans and gone north, and they've come down from the north and south, and now Vicksburg is the last linchpin to close the Mississippi completely. Once this happens, it's a matter of time before the inevitable
Yeah.
defeat of the South. Lee understands this and is making a play to invade the North
End it now.
and end it now. He's making a play to win the war. He's been winning.
Yeah.
So Lee is in the East, the Army of Northern Virginia. They've spent the last 3 years winning battle after battle against his Union
Yep.
counterparts.
The Union
The Army of the
generals,
Potomac.
they are at the start of the movie, they have just put in their 5th major general,
George Meade.
George Meade. 4 other generals have been shit canned by Lincoln.
Yes.
So they've been getting their asses kicked all war.
McClellan being the number one guy.
He stinks.
He's very bad. And then he runs for president against Lincoln.
Yeah.
So he wants to end the war. So he's running on the ticket to make peace with the Confederacy. Eventually. That hasn't happened yet. But George Meade is taking control. He's a bit more competent. He's risen through the ranks over the last few years. He's a Pennsylvania man, so this is his home turf that we'll be fighting in.
Good land.
Lee's strategy is essentially open a way, well, invade the North, obviously, and put yourself in a position where he has options to hit very important Union places like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, and above all else,
Quickly,
Washington, D.C. So the Army of the Potomac, which is the Union Army, has to stay in between him and D.C.
They cannot.
They cannot allow him to put the capital in jeopardy, because that will put the government in jeopardy, put Lincoln in jeopardy, end the war.
Yeah.
With a Southern victory. So that's kind of where we're at. So he invades the North. This is the second time he's done this. The first, he got stopped at Antietam last year.
Who stopped him?
I want to say it was Hooker, but you can chat. You can fact check me on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Union Command.
McClellan.
Oh, it was McClellan.
He got to win.
Darling boy McClellan, as the Irish would say. Yeah. So 2 armies are about to run into each other.
The Blues and the Grays.
The Blues and the Grays.
By the way, the Confederate uniform is so much better looking.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Union is sharp as fuck.
No.
I like the
With you.
gray. I think
the
it's
gray
cool.
with gold.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
It looks good.
Agree
Now,
to disagree.
For camouflage purposes, you probably
the
would
gray is better.
No, if you're fighting in woods, probably not. You want to be darker.
I don't know. Like, what has that dark blue color in nature other
Yeah.
than water?
Well, I mean, if you're against a lot of trees, like in rocks and stuff like that, something lighter is going to stand out more than darker, I feel.
Believe it or not, I don't think they're that concerned
No.
with camouflage at this point.
At this
in
point, I'm
history.
just saying in general,
Especially,
from
like-
hindsight.
And you're right about one thing. Like, when these battles happen, smoke is everywhere.
Yes.
So what is
Yeah,
going to
you
hide you
can't
better
see
is that
anything.
gray.
Gray, yeah. Yeah, good point.
The Confederacy has sent out Jeb Stewart. He is the leader of their cavalry.
He said to everybody, please clap.
Yeah.
Yeah. As he put on a hoodie very
Yeah.
poorly and embarrassingly.
Please clap.
Please clap.
Jeb.
He should have won
What
all
a
states.
joke.
He should have won all the states.
Jeb is not his name. That's an acronym, actually.
Okay.
It's like John Ewell Brown.
Okay.
But he's in charge of the Confederate cavalry, and Lee needs him to be his eyes and ears, and he does a terrible job at this. Jeb will take his guys north and try and his orders are like to secure mountain passes for their route north, and just screen the Yankees to see where they are. He loses contact with the rest of the army for 2 full weeks, which is just unacceptable.
He's just gone. Yeah.
It's unacceptable.
What do you think he was doing?
He was attempting to circle. He knew where the Army of the Potomac was and was trying to circle around it to attack, like, so that when they run into the rest of the army in Northern Virginia, he would be behind it and he could flank it. It didn't work. He had done this in the past several times. Like, this was his like go-to move.
This was his thing.
Yeah. And he like won a ton of glory doing this. It had worked. Didn't work this time.
Not this time.
And in doing so, Lee is moving blindly into Gettysburg. So his infantry just starts kind of converging on the town because a bunch of road systems cross.
Yeah, it's not like it was like an important place that was planned as an attack. It's kind of something that just came about.
They happen into each other.
Yeah, like it started like a little skirmish.
Right. Well, the Union cavalry is doing the exact same thing that Jeb is doing, only they just happen to be in the right place at the right time. This is General Stewart. No, not Stewart. That's Jeb. It's also to be Buford. General Buford. That's Sam Elliott. who is one of the coolest fucking characters ever.
In anything. Sam Elliott rules.
No, I just mean in this.
Oh,
Like,
in this he's great.
he's amazing in this.
But Sam Elliott is awesome in everything.
Yeah. So he rides into town and he sees the beginnings of the Confederate infantry arriving at the same time. And he immediately assesses the battlefield. Because it's infantry, he's like, okay, this is the full army. They're here.
Yeah.
He's alone. He's woefully undermanned. He's got like 2,000 men to what will eventually turn into 20,000 Confederates that are now converging on him. He looks at the battlefield. He sees that there's a bunch of hills outside the town, the high ground. He understands immediately that whoever controls the high ground is going to win. Yeah. He can't take it, but what he can do, and this is insanely brave, is dismount his cavalry, fight on foot, and try and hold these guys at bay long enough for the Union to come and take that high ground behind him to just buy time. Now, Lee has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know if he's running into the entire Union army right now, so he just throws everything at them. And for a couple of hours, this cavalry holds at all cost. Only I skipped. It's the devil to pay.
Yeah. So now, in the movie, you kind of have this happening.
Yeah, should we walk through the movie now?
Yeah, because we're here.
Okay.
So we kind of see that happening where he knows they're going to be funneling into this one road. And he's like, just hammer it. Just don't let him in, right? Is that kind of what happened? It was just like a road?
Yeah, it's
like
the
just,
Chambersburg Pike, if I'm not mistaken.
Like
These guys are just walking up this road, and the other road coming in the opposite direction is the Union guys.
Just not as many.
Not as many. Well, General Reynolds will reinforce. He makes his way. He feels no mercy from the Iron Brigade. He brings the Iron Brigade up the road.
And
we're gonna be doing this for the next hour.
And Reynolds
How can we not? It's the fucking movie.
And Reynolds kept quipping, right? He kept bringing up like Wolverine and
I don't even get the reference you made.
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, right.
Oh my god.
He kept making quips.
General Reynolds shows up with reinforcements so they can hold.
He's made of tin.
Longer. Okay.
Reynolds wrap.
Oh my god.
Aluminum foil.
Who the fuck would have gotten that
Jesus, some
immediately?
obscure.
Jesus Christ.
Like this is a weird way of thinking. General Reynolds gets shot in the head. No, not in the head. He does get shot by a rebel sharpshooter. Takes Reynolds'
his life. Well, can we? I want to talk about sharpshooting in these days.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's insane that a sharpshooter took this man out. Like I don't think you realize how difficult it is shooting a musket and being accurate at like a.
They're rifled
amount.
muskets. They're using what's called the Minet ball. So the Minet ball is like the first
Bullet, right.
ball.
Yeah.
It's conical. It's a cone-shaped bullet.
A little more accurate.
And rifling, essentially, for anyone who doesn't know, is grooves inside the barrel of the gun that make the ball spin. And he makes it insanely more accurate than what used to be like if you see in like the American Revolution.
Yeah.
Just belching a fucking metal
It is
pellet.
still
hoping for the best.
Still very hard.
Yeah.
with these guns
Yeah.
to hit something from a far distance.
This
Which
is
I'm
the
assuming they
beginning-
were.
This is the beginning of cavalry becoming completely untenable on a battlefield. Like it makes
Yeah.
your liability more than an asset if you're up on a horse, because guns are becoming way more accurate than they've ever been before. This is why when World War I happens, almost like by the end of 1914, nobody's on a horse anymore.
Yeah, you have to be insane.
Yeah. Especially once the loading becomes more efficient and you start
repeating
repeating. Yeah.
Just quickly about the Civil War, like the Union Army, I know uses a lot of Springfield rifles. They're single shot. The Confederates are using English Enfields for the most part. There are repeating rifles at this time. You don't see them all that often because they're insanely expensive and the government isn't going to pay for them. If a soldier has a repeating rifle, he's bought it himself.
Mhm.
They also feel like having that repeating aspect of it is a waste of. It encourages wasteful ammo use. Like they're not going to aim properly.
Yeah,
that is probably true to some extent, but
definitely true.
I think the offset of being able to throw that
Is
much
shooting
lead,
more?
is way outweighs. I mean, maybe production. All of these, it's the first time factories are being used to just funnel equipment to these places. It's industrialization.
It's the start of it.
It's factories. It's railroads that are making things way more deadly.
When did the lever hit the scene? Didn't they have a lever action at this point?
Yeah.
Because that's like
I think the Henry rifle's out, which has like 15 shots in it. You've got the Winchester.
The Winchester, yeah.
Model 1863. That's brand new.
Yeah. So
1873 was like the first like commercial Winchester. So it's
still a ways away.
Yeah. Like I mean it exists, but that's like when the Winchester
the gun that won the West.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that hasn't happened yet.
But yeah, that makes sense. And
in the Civil War, they were using the Henry lever action.
Yeah, the Henry
was a
rifle.
lever.
Okay, and
yeah.
that's 18th. And then in 1866, the Winchester replaced it.
The Henry's interesting because the way you load it is you got to pull this metal ring down the barrel and then put each bullet in individually, like 10 of them at a time, and then you
push it back and it shoots it up into the chamber.
My brother, I've been to Gettysburg twice.
Okay,
right. It's really worth it if you've never been. They went there once without me when we were in Europe.
Okay.
Right. So this is 2008.
Yep.
And they ate at a restaurant in the town, and there was a group of people sitting at a neighboring table. And we've been quoting this. My brother told us a story.
Decades.
We've been quoting
that
immediately. The Remington's a much more stylized rifle.
I was gonna buy a Remington. I chose not to, and I think that might have been one of the reasons.
It's much more stylized. In context, I have no idea what that means.
it's cool.
It looks cool.
So the scout you were talking about, that's not the actor guy we see in the movie, right?
No. I was talking about Jeb Stewart. He's literally a cavalry general.
Yeah.
No, this is like a spy. Because a lot of the Confederate victories, obviously they're in the South, right? So they have local knowledge of the terrain, and they will incorporate giant spy guys, like I say giant
spy
like
rings,
like they're monsters around them.
7-foot men, so they could see over the heads.
The locals will help them. Now they're in enemy territory.
Yeah.
So their spies are way less effective. So they have to send these guys north to just kind of scout the area, and he will let Lee know that the Army of the Potomac is even there. I don't know much about that guy. It's just
I just thought it was a little interesting thing. I wanted to see if that was the same guy. So in the movie, they're talking about Meade is the new commander, and Lee is I'm skipping. Lee is introduced to the actor guy.
Yeah.
He finds out about the information about where the army
he's not introduced to like Longstreet. He sends him to Longstreet's. He's Longstreet's guy, and Longstreet relays the information.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then Lee is like,
by the way, the fake beards.
Horrible.
Out of control.
Horrible.
Longstreet's beard.
They look so bad. They look so bad.
Why couldn't they get these guys to just grow beards?
Why was that so long?
The Longstreet beard would take forever.
And they have other jobs, you know.
Yeah.
Who directed this?
This is like the passion project of one guy.
Yeah.
Is it?
Ronald F. Maxwell.
He had a silver hammer.
Bang, bang.
He did Gettysburg, Gods in General, and Copperhead from 2013.
What's Copperhead?
Assuming it's a Civil War thing.
It's a Civil War movie.
He has a taste.
That's this guy's thing, apparently.
The production is actually kind of interesting because this guy, like I said, it's his passion project. He wanted to make this like the history buffs history movie.
Yeah. He succeeded.
He succeeded. And he got funding from another history buff named Ted Turner,
who appears in the movie.
Ted Turner gets killed in Pickett's Charge in the movie. The man who brought us TBS. And a lot of, like, overwhelmingly, the extras in the movie are real Civil War reenactors.
And Ken Burns.
Ken Burns is in the movie?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. So
he's an aide to Hancock.
it's funny you said that, because when I was going to get the movie, I purchased that by accident.
Oh, the Ken Burns Civil War?
The reenactment documentary.
Oh.
I'm going to watch it because I purchased it.
I mean, if anyone who hasn't watched Ken Burns Civil War, it's like the greatest thing ever made. So go watch that.
But
what are you doing?
It started, and I saw like found footage, real people talking dressed in the Civil War. I'm like, there's no way this is it. It's named the exact same thing. It's Gettysburg. I just clicked the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening? I'm like,
this can't be a movie.
Did you guys make me watch a doc about reenactments?
But the reenactors, a lot of them
brought their own shit.
Brought their own shit, and they volunteered. They weren't
That's
paid.
why it looks so good.
They just got food and some got transportation, but that allowed them to basically make the movie because they were able to cut the cost.
Yeah, that
Because
takes
you
me
didn't
out
have
of
to pay
it, though.
extras.
Do you think there's any extras who are like, I'm not having the food? Like, it takes me out of my role.
I guarantee you, there's lunatics like
right.
Yeah, I brought my own hardtack.
You ever see the Conan bit where he's in the Civil War?
Yeah,
Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, it's good.
And there's the guy with the earring. Another thing about the reenactors, like, these guys are going to ensure that accuracy is maintained.
Yes.
Because if it isn't, they'll just leave. You know, they're not going to be a part of something that they think is bullshit.
Some wacky shit. Yeah.
That definitely played a part in why it's so good.
Yeah.
At least those sequences, because the main difference between this film and other Civil War movies that I've seen, the battle sequences are very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're not like quick sequences.
Well, yeah. Well, because it's the battle. That's what we're doing. That's what we're here.
No. I know. I'm saying compared to other Civil War movies where you do have a battle and you see key points in the battle. At this, there's multiple repeating of the same, like, I'm shooting,
charges.
I'm shooting, I'm charging, and it's very, like you said, it's very realistic. But for a movie, it kind of gets dull.
Compare this to The End of Glory, when they're running through the fort and it's like an FPS.
Yeah.
And they're just killing dudes left and right.
Yeah.
And this is just like,
So
I
much more
honestly
realistic.
thought they repeated some of the shots at times.
They did.
Oh, yeah?
They did.
The cannon shots,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Towards the
100%.
end.
Maybe. There's something I wanted to say. Whatever.
Say it, bro.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll come back to me.
So Robert E. Lee is played by
Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen, the smoking man, right? Or
I love doing Wall
what's
Street.
his name in fucking in Mass Effect?
The elusive
The
man.
elusive man. That's it. The smoking man is X-Files. Yeah, the elusive man.
I know Martin Sheen from the Eyewitness science series from the 90s, where he would teach kids about, like, volcanoes or dinosaurs
Really?
or something. It was fucking great. I used to watch him all the time.
I remember him from Hot Shots Part 2, where they're crossing each other in the river, and Charlie Sheen looks at Martin and goes, I love doing Wall Street, and they cross each other. His thumbs up. And it was very good.
Of course, Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's a good Lee?
No,
I've got mixed feelings.
I don't think
I
he was
think
good
he's
Lee.
fine.
Yeah, he's fine, but he's not
fine.
good.
He's not great.
Yeah.
I think he does a good job. He does a competent job. He doesn't have the gravitas.
He should have
that
been
you need.
older. You needed an older man there, or at least somebody that looks.
I feel like
That-
he's too short.
I mean, yeah, he is a little. He's looking up a lot. How tall was Lee?
Lee has achieved, like, almost minor deity status among the Confederates.
Yes.
Like, they
Not only the Confederates, among the nation. Like, everyone respects this man.
afterward. Yeah. But I think at the time, like, he is the father to all of them. Like, they don't question him.
Yeah.
So
But he cannot be, argued with.
exactly.
What he says is gospel, because he's led them
This
to
far.
victory this far.
Yeah.
You know,
And the other choice is Robert Duvall stepped down.
Robert Duvall was in Gods and Generals as Lee. If I'm
Is
not
he?
mistaken.
Oh, so maybe he came back to it, but he didn't do it. Albert Finney and George C. Scott also.
George C. Scott would have done this great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He decided not to. So there you go.
Although I do, Martin Sheen.
Although you do declare.
There's nothing wrong with Martin Sheen's performance.
He's fine.
It just feels like he doesn't exude the presence Robert E. Lee should exude to me.
Is it also how he shot? Because I feel the movie and like critics at the time were pissed at this. They called it Confederate porn. Like, what's his face? Not Roger. Siskel. He fucking gave the movie thumbs down because they weren't like foaming at the mouth racists.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
that's not what
That's
this
the best
movie
thing
is.
about it.
I find that
It's
you
the
get
best thing
this
about it.
not from Americans whose families were around at the time. I think there's a lot of consolatory stuff between those people, old school, original stock Americans.
Yeah.
Like they don't have any hard feelings about this. It was a conflict between brothers, right?
Uh-huh.
I feel like Ellis Islanders are people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just are fucking rabidly hate the Confederacy for some reason. And I don't know where this comes from. It's just something that's popped up over time. And if any like reason that isn't we need to free the slaves, then it's propaganda. Then it's evil. Like guys, there was a lot more context and nuance going on in this conflict than we're allowed to even fucking talk
Like obviously
about now.
that's a big part.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
but
a
there's
big
more
part,
to
yeah.
it.
Oh, there's a lot.
These people are protecting themselves from what they see as a tyrannical government imposing itself on their way of life.
And you have people in the American military like General Grant who believe that some states, such as Virginia,
right.
the original 13 colonies, he believed they actually do have the right to secede and leave.
Yeah.
And he felt the other states didn't. He changed his mind over time on it, but that was his original stance.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable.
I think
it's an arguable point.
I think it's taught in schools at such a shallow level where it's like, hey, this is why the war happened. We're not going into any other reason. It's slavery. Like, that's it.
That is it, yeah.
That's a huge point. If they would have told you going in,
here's the
hey,
thing.
listen, less than 1% of the population owns slaves.
Yeah.
You would say to yourself, then why are all these people dying?
Right.
What are they really honestly galvanized about compared to that? Because obviously that's not the only factor.
Obviously.
Like it's not totally
abolitionists in the years leading up to the Civil War are a extreme minority. Most of them live in New England, and they captured essentially the soul of the government as like a radical element.
That
And
never
they
would happen.
Exactly. And they pushed and pushed and pushed for abolition. Now, obviously, abolition, I don't know why I have to say this, is the right thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if it's being forced on people, they have some spite towards it. A lot of Southerners would tell you slavery is evil. George Washington would tell you slavery is evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jefferson.
Yes. They want it gone just as much as these people, but they kind of see it as like they see it as their thing, their institution that they need to take care
It's
of.
also, that's their entire economy.
It is.
It's a huge part.
It's a big part of it. It's not their entire economy,
You know what I mean?
but it is a big part
But
of it.
it would have been gone within 5 to 10 years.
It was
the
on
Civil
its
War.
way
Yeah,
out.
because the
the slave
technology
trade
was
had
coming
already
up,
been
yeah.
stopped.
Imagine
Yeah.
if the South won the Civil War.
Yeah.
Slavery would be over within 10 years
less probably because
because
technology.
the rest of the world would not allow it anymore. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The time had come where the Europeans would have forced it on.
They were said, we're not trading with
We're
you.
not doing business with you. You're an evil slave society.
Yes.
Yeah.
Done.
Does that mean we should stop importing oil? Because I'm pretty sure there's still slaves all over the place. I'm like almost certain it's still happening. Are we the baddies?
I think a lot of Southerners probably would have said the way to go about this is to take it slow and phase it out.
Yeah.
But things were coming to a head in the country. You had bleeding Kansas. You had fucking the 3/5 compromise and all that shit. Like it was gonna come to a head, and sure enough, it spills over at Fort Sumter.
So I don't know much about this perspective of it, but maybe you have a little more insight since you have a vast knowledge of this topic.
I don't know about that. But okay.
So the North,
yeah,
right? They were like, you got to stop the slavery BS. Was it ever proposed to help remove it and replace it with something that wouldn't destroy those industries? As in,
well, it's interesting you say that.
Hey, we'll get rid of the slaves, but we will give you like federal workers in the meantime until you figure out how to have this
like a
operate.
grandfather.
Britain,
yeah.
Britain's solution to the slave issue,
that wasn't
was
like
to
that.
buy all the slaves from the slaveholders and pay them.
Right.
They didn't pay off that debt that they incurred, the British government, until like the 20th century.
It took them forever to.
I actually think like late 20th century. You can look this up.
And we never, we as in the North never offered that.
No, because that's kind of
It's also an
the
un-American
antithesis to American ethos. To say
Yeah,
like the government is going to buy your property.
But maybe not
Yeah.
so much that in that sense, but at least some other realm of, hey, we're not going to destroy your industry.
There were definitely things like
2015, the UK.
2015.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
they took out a loan and paid reparations to slave owners in 1833, and they finished paying off the debt in 2015.
That's like student loans today.
Yeah. Crazy. Worth it, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
But there were another issue that Southerners, I think, would raise is like, you have all of these slaves. They're completely uneducated. Most of them, one that can read is an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
They have no skills other than working on
Farm.
plantations.
Physical labor. Yeah.
If you free them, what happens to them? What do they do?
Yeah.
We know from hindsight,
They stayed.
they have economic migration periods for the next couple of decades. They move around. There's criminality. There's all kinds of fucking problems, but they're free. I think a Southern perspective would be like, what if we educate these people? What if we do it slowly, and make them productive people before we just unleash them onto the world? Yeah, you're on your own.
Right, good luck.
Some might call that cruel. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I think the way it happened probably could have been handled better. We have a lot of racial problems from the way it happened in this country
And then
for
obviously-
100 years.
And then
Yeah.
Reconstruction obviously
Destroyed
was
it
delayed
too,
because
yeah.
fucking Andrew Johnson was awful.
Right.
Who
Yep.
set the country back. But it happened, and look, after they were freed, a lot stayed and worked on the same plantations
Yeah.
where they were slaves.
Yeah.
Because what else?
Because they don't know any other way.
Yeah.
It's like, they were able to earn money, and it basically became indentured servitude for many of them.
Yeah.
Isn't much better.
Where it's like, so
With a resentful population now around.
Yes.
So it's mad that the government is imposing this on them.
exactly. So, Song of the South, right?
The Disney
The
movie.
Disney movie that everyone gets fucking pissed about, and they call it a racist movie.
Mhm.
And they're like, it shows a happy black slave. The fucking book was written about this dude's experiences. I forget the name of the author. Growing up in the South, like the antebellum South, right?
Mhm.
Post Civil War. And there was a freed black guy that fucking lived on his farm, on like his family's plantation. And he would go and hang out with the guy, Uncle Remus, and he would hear all these Uncle Remus stories.
Right.
And he wrote a book about Uncle Remus's stories. Uncle Remus was a freed black dude. Movie comes out. Obviously, it's successful at the time. It goes on a long enough timeline in the 80s, and people are like, oh, this is fucked up. It's a happy slave. It's like, the dude wasn't a happy slave. He was a free man.
Yeah.
But like, we're stupid now, and we can't recognize that it's like, it was a free, happy black man
Yeah.
who still worked on a plantation, because what the fuck else was he going to do?
And if you like being outside and you were like not being abused, like, yeah, why wouldn't you be happy doing that? Like, if you, like I'm saying,
Honest pay for an honest day's work. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
you're talking about. Now,
Like-
obviously, there's tons of abuses going on.
it's
in the South.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
This needed to end. How you end it is up for debate.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
They took the blunt force approach.
They did. Yeah. They ripped it off like a Band-Aid, and you can't.
The North will tell you the South started the war, and the South will tell you the North did.
And on the flip side, look, you could look at the North and say what they did was the moral thing to say, this is fucked up. It needs to end right now. Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to point out, the movie has a couple of scenes where each side gets to make their case.
Yeah.
Right? The Northern one is the anti-slave one.
Yeah.
Right? It's Chamberlain and his brother, and they're from Maine.
Yeah.
They're probably abolitionists. Those characters would have said something like that. I think the average Union soldier doesn't really care about slavery. They're there because they feel that the South has insulted. Yes, they've insulted the Constitution and the flag and the presidency and all of this stuff. They have no right to leave. Like, just because the government passes a law you don't like, you don't get to just not obey it.
Yeah,
right.
That's their perspective. That's Lincoln's perspective.
Grant too.
Yeah. And that's why they're there. That's why they're fighting. The average Southerner would tell you.
Or they just came off the boat from Ireland and they're like,
they said we're going to get some food.
Here's some upward mobility. But there is, I think after Gettysburg, when you have the Gettysburg Address and the Emancipation Proclamation has already happened, you will.
I don't listen to hip-hop.
The war is given a new spiritual component to it by Lincoln. Lincoln will go to Gettysburg after the battle, give the speech, and it's like, we are here to do something good.
This is moral.
There's a moral reason for the war. We're not just fighting each other for just endless bloodbaths.
Yeah.
There's a moral crusade, and we're going to accomplish it. That comes later. And by and large, Americans will adopt that.
Yeah. They come around to it.
Yes.
It didn't work out for Lincoln, but most, adopted it.
Maybe a few actors.
Maybe in hindsight, maybe he shouldn't have said that on the battlefield.
but yeah, what we're gonna say, the Southerners will tell you that they're fighting because the Union is there. That comes from Shelby Foote, not me. I mean, why are you fighting?
You're in our home.
You're here.
Yeah.
We're fighting because you're here.
Right.
You've invaded us.
Right.
So yeah, they do see it as the war of Northern aggression. It's not just me being funny when I said that.
No, I know.
They say that. Where are we in the film? I'm sorry we've got on such a crazy tangent. Yeah.
So
we're early.
We in this upcoming scene, we get an Enya-esque
Orinoco flow.
You guys pick up on that too, because it was real strange. Like, it was like Enya's Southern battle music. It was very, very weird and surreal.
So we're
in a nutshell. Day one is the Union holds the town long enough to occupy the high ground.
Yes.
And then the Southerners push them out and win the day. They lose the ground. Like,
Always
the Union will
take
lose the town, but they save the high ground.
Always take the
They
high
have
ground.
fortified and saved the high ground.
And just a mile or so away.
Well, that's coming.
So now we get the Chamberlain, played by Jeff Daniels.
Yes.
George Washington himself.
He's back.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is before that, though.
This is before. But
I guess this got him that role.
Yeah, where he's like, I'm an American history guy. He's awesome.
So great in this.
Yeah.
He
Incredible portrayal.
has my favorite scene in the movie by far.
What, the
whole little
round top?
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
It's great.
So, is this real that they got prisoners?
Yeah.
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 That had fled?
Yeah. All that, the whole thing about.
So let's explain it.
Yeah. So there were some Maine men who,
Maine men.
Good tomboy.
They kind of mutinied. They didn't want to fight anymore because the rest of their compatriots had gone home. They'd finished their contracts. These guys still had a year left, and they stuck them with the 22nd Maine. And
Forced them to fight.
Well, they didn't force them. Chamberlain convinced them.
Well, they said
he
fight,
gives the epic ending movie speech at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where if you were rejiggering this movie to make it more cinematic, he gives that speech at the Little Round Top
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
rallies them, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Very weird choice, but
well, no,
realistic choice.
this is the real choice.
Yeah.
He gets these guys to buy into it,
Yeah.
to participate.
As a filmmaker, I put that at the end. Yeah.
It makes sense if you're trying to do
A movie.
the emotionally pleasing movie version,
Mhm.
you know, as opposed to the history version.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're going to go up against 1,000 men, and they have 300.
Well, let's talk about the
20th Maine?
situation here.
Okay.
You've got the Union line up in these hills, these forested hills. Now,
Yep.
I've been in these hills. And me not being a military man.
It's kind of a zone, the hills, and they're green. It's the Green Hill.
Green Hill Zone.
Yeah.
By any chance.
There's a blue guy that runs real fast.
By any chance, are there a lot of circular gold coins?
Me not being a military man, I can tell you, just to me, this looks like an impenetrable fortress up in these hills.
Yeah.
There's boulders like in the Devil's Den area.
Were you when you
Um,
went to Gettysburg? Are you able to like go to the Devil's Den? And
Yeah.
like, yeah.
It's
Okay.
all there. There's statues everywhere to tell you
How
where everything
long
is.
does it take you to walk from?
You can't see it. You can't see the whole thing in a day.
Really? It's
Yeah.
that massive?
It's huge. It's absolutely massive.
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about a field that hosted what? How many thousands of men?
Since-
Miles
yeah.
long.
About 120,000 men
Yeah.
altogether. The Little Round Top is this forested area that's on the extreme left of the Union line. It protects the flanks.
Yeah.
And then it moves up Cemetery Ridge, which is, a long, very long row of hills. The Devil's Den is the next thing over from Little Round Top. Then it curves. It curves to the right if you're looking at it from the Union's perspective. And there's a fish hook. Everyone calls it the fish hook.
Yep.
That protects, the right flank.
The side. Yeah.
The Confederates counter it.
They want to go around, right?
Well, they're doing what the plan for the day, and this is how Lee sees. Keep in mind, Lee has wanted to draw the Army of the Potomac out into battle.
Yeah, he wants to get them into open battle.
Right.
That's his game plan.
He wants to destroy them. If he can destroy that army,
He wins.
Washington D.C. is open.
Yep.
The country's open.
The country,
Yeah.
he wins the war.
Everywhere. Yeah.
And at this point in the movie, too, they show Lee. And I think Sheen does a good job of portraying the desperation and the exasperation to finally end the war.
Mhm.
Like, they're sick of fighting.
Yeah. Well, they know they're losing.
It's,
They know they're going to lose if given time.
yes.
There's a guy named General Sickle. Now, General Sickle, this is not in the movie.
He had cells.
He had cells.
They were weird
Oh
shaped.
my God. He's anemic. Wow. General Sickle is on Cemetery Ridge.
Communist through and through.
He sees a hill out away from the Union line. He's a Union general. Out
heard
away from the
about this
Union
guy, yeah.
line with a peach orchard on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is above him. So he says to himself, I need to take control of that hill. Otherwise, they'll take control of it and destroy me.
This is a fuck up, I think,
This
right?
is a massive fuck up. Because what he does, he takes his men, he moves it out of the line.
They back up.
No, they go forward.
Oh, they go forward.
They go forward towards the Confederates. And he creates two giant gaps on either side of him that can be filled with enemy soldiers. So now the Union command sees what he's done, and to compensate, they pull men from the center to fill those gaps. Now he can be, it's a giant bulge in the Union line where it was a solid line. Now it's a bulge. It can be attacked from three different sides. This threatens everything because the Confederates see this and they want to take the opportunity to attack it. This is why the Little Round Top is so important.
Okay.
Because the Confederates want to move around the side of the Little Round Top, attack from the right. Meanwhile, there's attacks coming at this bulge and another attack up on the far right of the Union line at the fishhook. So there's giant offensive is happening all over the place. The movie focuses on the Little Round Top. If the Little Round Top collapses,
They're entrenched.
now there is Confederate soldiers behind them, in front of
On
them,
the flank.
on
They're
the
dead.
side, on the flank. They're fucked.
It's done.
Yeah. So they have to hold at all.
And in the movie, I like the military
They knew
discussions.
what they were made of.
But I like the military discussions where they have like Lee talking to other generals and commanders.
Yeah.
And like
It's great.
the guy, which guy is Lee talking to? Where the guy's like, I want to go all the way around.
I don't know his name, but that is, yeah. He wants to take the time. But what that does, and the movie says it, but
Yes.
I don't know if it really portrays it where people understand it if you're watching it. If you take the time to go around and do the safe attack,
You missed the board.
you are not coordinating with all the other attacks happening at the same time, and you give them time to react so they can reinforce that. And
Exactly.
so he's like, you're gonna take too fucking long if you do that. So you have to go now. You got to do the hard fight up this hill into the woods at the 22nd Maine. Yeah.
And I mean, so
Now you texted me when you were watching it,
yes.
and you said this is the greatest thing ever filmed.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
It is so fucking cool.
We're talking about the little
The repeated
Battle.
assaults on the Little Round Top by
Yeah.
the Alabama men.
yes.
I like
An Alabama bird.
bust your lip open, bitch.
What do you
Thought I told you to shut up.
There's a beer and a bowling ball.
Yeah.
What do you find about this that's like mind blowing? Because I felt it was very repetitive and somewhat cool at first. Then this is kind of boring now. to
I
watch.
like that it's showing kind of how many waves they had to go through.
Yeah.
I
How
like
exhausting.
how
this is.
exhausting.
Yeah.
I love that they show the tactics, how they have to evolve, where they're like, we're losing too many men. Now we need to adjust and fight at like a right
Angles,
angle.
yeah.
Like we have to form walls of 90-degree men
Mhm.
and shit. And just like the battle tactics and as it's happening,
It's so cool.
it's
Yeah.
fucking sick.
But if you're not into it, what a bore fest, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
love this shit.
I do too. Yeah.
So like, I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
One thing I will criticize the movie about, and I don't know, like,
Not enough
Who you-
smoke.
there's not enough blood.
Not enough blood and smoke. Yep.
That was,
There's no gore in this movie at all.
I had
none.
the same exact thought. It's bloodless.
Yeah.
Very only in like the injured tents.
Yeah.
But you never
Right.
see like someone's arm
Literally,
coming
it looks
off.
like
Right.
a 60s movie where guys get shot and they grab their chest. Like, oh.
Yes.
Yeah, the deaths. I mean, they're
What are you guys doing?
They're
It's
Civil War
1990
reenactors.
It's
They're not
1993.
actors.
Saving Private Ryan is just a couple of years away.
Braveheart is coming.
Yeah.
Valid points.
You can fucking do
could do
something
stuff, yeah.
here.
I
Now, maybe they didn't have the money.
I think it's
It's-
money, and I think it's also the guy who's making it is a fucking dork. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's getting all these reenactors,
Mhm.
and I think it's just like
Go do your reenactments.
classic cinema.
Yeah.
We don't need that, you know?
Right.
To tell the story I want to
We
tell.
don't need to be shocking.
Exactly.
Right.
To tell the story he wants to tell, it's not needed.
Mhm.
But to make it really fucking cool and visceral, I would have
That's
loved to
the
see
movie-
blood shooting
it
out.
needed
It was lacking some gore.
Mhm.
Yes.
It needed it.
I agree. I had the same thought. It's bloodless.
Yeah.
I especially in that scene that we're on.
Compare
Where-
this to Glory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Glory has cooler action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it does.
that was one of my gripes about this is the actual action sequences, as cool and big and expansive as they are, they don't really capture you. You're not blown away by the action sequences here. It's kind of like, yeah, this is
It's emotional and
sometimes, but not.
they
not,
do a good job
you
of
know.
setting up what's at stake. you
Yeah.
know?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
But if you're just talking straight up, at any point, did you feel sad or like, oh my God, I can't believe this person just died like that? They just fall. And it's like this.
So the Irish guy loses his arm. Right?
Yeah.
And then
that's
dies.
really not. Yeah, like you don't feel much here, at least for me.
I got emotional on the little round top scene.
Because you were thinking of the song.
Not just the song. It's just fucking, it's awesome, man. It's like one guy is basically saving the entire country by himself.
He is. Yes.
And it's so fucking awesome.
Not by himself, but he's commanding
He's
it.
leading it,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, let's say what happened. So after multiple assaults that they drive off. The 22nd Maine is out of ammunition.
They're
exhausted.
real low. Yeah.
They know that the next assault will kill them.
Yes.
And thus killing the army, and thus killing
They
the Union.
must.
And they do what Steve has said is
Hold
the
at all
boldest war maneuver of all.
Most daring.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
John Schaefer did.
I said I read the booklet, and John Schaefer said it's the most daring military move in history. In which I relate to you guys. You're like, what are you talking about? Like John Schaefer said it.
We have mocked him about that for years, right?
Probably 15 years.
Yeah.
He just took John Schaefer's word as
I was like, he's right.
Schaefer knows.
He knows.
So they fixed bayonets.
They fixed bayonets,
Which is
and
crazy.
charge down the hill at their attackers.
But I'm going to say this. They literally have no other option.
There is no other
It's
option.
that or die.
Yeah.
But they
We're
also
out
of ammo. We can't fall back. No. On my command, fix bayonets.
For submission. They didn't know how many, if there was any other lines behind them too. So they
Right.
might have killed a line and just been all massacred.
True. That is a possibility. But you have to understand the main Confederate line is way back, and they move the attackers forward. So that they can retreat.
Yeah.
Like look at the end of Pickett's charge. All those guys charging, they make their way back after they've been slaughtered. The Lee is waiting for the counterattack now for the Union to come and kill him. So he has to stop and like prepare for battle, but it never comes. So there is a place to retreat to. Is my point. It's not like the rest of the army is just sitting there at the bottom of the hill.
Like, oh man, that sucks.
Well, the colonel could tell that, his men are tired, but he also saw they're tired too.
Yeah, well, he surmised they must be exhausted just like us. If not worse, they're running uphill and dying.
Yep.
They've got to be low on ammo. We're low on ammo.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So he charges down the hill and en masse the Confederates surrender.
They surrender. Yeah.
And those that don't flee surrender. And they have a bunch of prisoners now. It's amazing. They save the day. Day ends
Heroic.
with Union still in position on the high ground. More or less the same situation that the day started with is intact at the end of the day. There is a Confederate breakthrough where they grab some territory on the far right flank, which we don't see in the movie. But by
with the end of the fishhook?
Yes.
Okay.
And they have some ground there that they hold.
At all
But
costs.
at like 6 a.m. the next morning, there's a counterattack from the Union that pushes them out. So the day will start on the third day, more or less in the same position it had at the second day. Lee is incredibly frustrated. The idea from Longstreet that comes up, and I think this is probably, in hindsight, the better move.
This is Lee's folly here.
Yes. He was so prideful and had such confidence in his men.
Well, he had been undefeated.
Yes. He's like, I'm not going to let them beat me here. We fought for 2 days. We have to get something from this. The better move that Longstreet brings to him is to not attack. In fact, he brought this up the first day, too. He's like, they're way better positioned than us. Let's not attack
They have
them.
the high ground.
Let's move south towards D.C. and make them attack us.
Yep.
That would have been
the better move. The conservative better move. But Lee's like, no, they're here now. We're here now. Let's kill them. Let's end this. Let's end the war. Day 3, he feels that they almost had them the day before. It's just a matter of pushing a little harder today, and we'll get them where they want them. Now, what he doesn't know is that all through the night, the Union has been reinforcing itself. And they're building barricades, and they did this. They did the same thing too. All kinds of fortifications are being set up on these hills. He thinks that because he's mainly attacked the 2 flanks the day before, they've had to pull troops from the center to reinforce the flanks.
And he's right.
He is right. He feels like the center must be weakened now because they've pulled troops off it. let me bombard it with everything I have, all the cannons, smash the center, and throw everything at the center. Now, there's a great moment where Chamberlain is being congratulated for what he's done the day before.
Oh, it's very funny.
And he's like,
"We're gonna give you a break.
We're gonna move you to the center, safest part of the battlefield. Your guys have done their bit. Let's get them out of harm's way." Meanwhile, they're literally put smack in the middle of Pickett's charge.
Poor Chamberlain, right? But I did want to talk about some scenes before we get into the next day.
Oh yeah, we could talk about Ambrose and Hancock.
Because there's some scenes here I really like. I love the scene where they're talking to the random Confederate soldier.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, rats." And it sounds like rats.
What do you mean?
Oh, we're fighting for our rats.
Yeah. Tired of this war? Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, me too.
And they find a black guy.
Yeah.
And they call him a John Henry.
Yeah.
Was that a thing? I had never heard that.
Well,
It's
John Henry's the steel driving man.
Yeah. But it's so unimportant to the movie to even put that scene in.
It doesn't add much. No.
Not if you're a fan of the North, because it's like, look how nice they are to black people.
I think that was an opportunity to give the slave perspective on things, but they don't take it.
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything.
Yeah, they already had that before. Like they had a conversation about it earlier.
They're like, he speaks, but I don't understand him. So I guess he was like an African or something.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. It's just a weird thing in the movie
that really doesn't add much.
Yeah.
I think it's a missed opportunity. I really do, because you could have had that guy say his piece about the whole thing.
Something, yeah.
You know?
It's so weird thing. And then there's a scene where they're talking about I love this, where it's Chamberlain and someone else, and they're talking about the divine spark.
And that exists in the Syrian.
Yeah, that's what I was just referring to, where like that's the scene where they actually take the privilege to speak about their views on slavery. I think it was a little cheese dick, but
well, you know, they use a British guy.
Yeah.
So the British guy, I forget his name, but he's a real guy.
I'm pulling him up.
He is not Queen Victoria's attaché. He tourist.
Pretends to be.
Yeah. He is a war tourist. He comes just to watch. He ran the blockade into New Orleans. No, I'm sorry, into Mexico.
You think he's watching and beating off at specific battles?
Ooh,
which one do you think was his favorite?
Arthur Fremantle.
Yeah.
Which battle would you jerk it to?
So, interesting aspect of the Civil War that rarely gets brought up, I think, is Europe is really interested in it. Not just Britain and France, who are the ones who may come in on either side of the conflict, but places like Prussia and Italy and Russia. All these people who haven't fought each other in quite a while at this point.
Well, yeah,
not since Napoleon.
Right?
They were bored.
They want to know what modern warfare is like.
Yeah, how do we get it on
So
this?
they have observers with all of these armies that like there's just like a Prussian guy walking around watching shit on a lot of these battlefields.
Just a Prussian guy.
So this British guy, the real guy,
Sir Arthur Lyon Fremantle.
He lands in Mexico.
What a name.
And makes his way north into the Confederacy and has attached himself with other European, like real European observers who are doing a job for their governments. So it looks like he belongs with them.
He's just there.
And he's walking around with the Army of Northern Virginia and seeing what they're all about. So, and the movie uses him to great effect to be like the outside perspective so that other characters can talk to him about why we fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a scene where the Virginians go on a whole long diatribe about Virginia, how awesome it is.
Yes.
And the lineages of the people there. And I think that's
a great scene.
It's an amazing scene because
best.
it demonstrates the aristocratic patronage system that had existed there. The southern states, unlike any other part of the country, kind of brought the old world to the south with them.
I can see
in the early colonization.
The European.
Yeah. You have nobility that isn't called nobility.
Yeah.
It's an aristocratic class that doesn't exist in the North. And this is part of the thing they're protecting. You know, this is their way of life that's going to be destroyed.
Mhm.
The Old South is going to die if they lose this
Antebellum
war.
is done.
Right. It's going to be run by merchants and economic people, industrialists. It's not going to be the landed gentry that it had always been. And I this is weird, but you know the song by Clutch, "Son of Virginia"? You know that song?
I'm not a Clutch fan. But.
Well, they're clearly referencing this scene in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's talking about like this guy's Francis Scott Key's. Is it Francis Scott Key? I forgot.
Francis, yeah, he wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, I know, but they drop a couple of names of like people's grandfather.
John
did
Tyler
this.
was someone's grandfather.
Right.
This guy's a great
We're all
president.
sons of Virginia here.
Yeah.
His grandfather said, "Give me liberty or give me death."
Yeah, Patrick Henry's like grandson.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm looking at
man's
Fremantle's
grandfather was a
Wikipedia.
Uh-huh.
The man is like the Forrest Gump of like the 30s.
Where else did he go?
Well, first of all, his father fought at Waterloo.
Okay.
So that's like the first thing.
Uh-huh.
He traveled through Texas and all this, Louisiana, all this stuff. He was at the draft riots in New York.
How the fuck? How? He was at Gettysburg. It was like 3 days later. He just made his way north.
His passage having been secured, Fremantle arrived by train in New York City on the night of July 12th.
Wow.
The following day, Fremantle went out for a walk among Broadway. Upon his return to his hotel, he found...
These Americans are out of control.
Crazy.
Yeah. Basically, he saw mobs and fires and all this shit.
You see him talking to Boss Tweed. Well, sir, Irish are gonna Irish. And that's what they do.
They don't have a moment's peace.
I like this butcher fella.
I don't know why I made him Southern.
I don't know. Yeah, why? Yeah, I'm following you. And the accent rubbed off on him. But yeah, so the draft riots were from July 13th to the 16th.
Yeah.
He got there the day before.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's there for it all.
He also did serve in the British military, but is not important to this.
Right.
Back to the movie.
Yeah.
Well, there was a note that Meade had passed to Lee. They don't address this in the movie. He wrote him a note and it said, "Don't try it, Lee. I have the high ground."
Mm-hmm.
And Lee wrote back, "I will do what I must. I must bring peace and stability to my new Confederacy."
You will try. Great acting.
Yeah.
So yeah, the bombardment. Let's
Yes.
talk about that.
It's awesome in this.
150 guns make up their cannon. So the Confederates opened fire with every gun they have on the Union
This
center.
looks awesome.
They're trying to smash it and, well, at least scatter it, so that when the grand assault happens, there will be as little resistance as possible. They're going to have to cross 3/4 of a mile of open ground, a giant killing zone.
With Yankee cannons gunning us down.
They'll do their duty. They do what they must.
Thousands died that day.
The Yankees will return fire. Together, this is one of the loudest sounds ever that ever happened up to that point in human history.
Just the two
That
cannons.
many cannons?
Yes.
How is that like documented?
I don't know how you measure
Yeah,
it,
how-
but that's what I've heard.
Did you
It
get
is
that from
one of-
Schaefer too?
I did not get that from Schaefer, but I got it from,
Ken Burns.
I might have gotten it from Ken Burns. I don't remember where I got it, but it is one of the loudest sounds of all time. At least up to that point. It's been dwarfed.
Yeah.
Since. But
Obviously
is that really hard to believe? I mean, what else could it be?
It just seems like
I don't know,
how
man. You could blow up like walls with gunpowder. So
like
I don't know.
Waterloo.
We're
Yeah.
talking about 200 cannons, roughly 250 cannons going off at the exact same time.
It's a
loud
that's
fucking
very
sound.
loud.
Um,
Volcanoes have blown up though.
You're right.
So
You're right. I should say maybe man-made sounds.
way better.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
but this isn't the biggest battle with cannons at this point in history, right?
No,
Like,
but it's the biggest one in the Western Hemisphere. It's the biggest one in American history.
what about Waterloo?
more? There's more cannons there, probably.
Waterloo might have,
But I don't think they were going
They
off
weren't condensed.
Oh, I
simultaneously.
see.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
This-
Okay,
yeah.
maybe.
It's possible.
Like literally, all of the cannons are converged on one spot.
Yeah.
Very close range too.
No, it's not a close. It's like I said, it's about a mile.
That's close for cannons.
Is it in that day and age? I don't know. How
have you ever heard a gunshot from a mile away?
No.
Have you ever heard a cannon from a mile away?
No.
Well, there you go.
Do you remember when we?
I've heard both. They're loud.
Do you remember when we did my bachelor party and we were in the shooting range?
Yes.
And the guy had the 50 cal.
Yeah, that was fucking loud.
That was the
Very
loudest thing I've ever
And we had
experienced.
we had protection on our ears too.
Yeah.
I would go as a child to the Army Navy football games,
Okay.
and they would do like the blank artilleries out of the cannons, and that was fucking like just deafening. So
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Dun, 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 dun.
awesome transition.
All right.
Until you realize it's actually taken from the movie.
It's
Then you're
literally
like,
from the
these
movie.
pieces of shit.
Pickett.
Pickett.
Is a general from Virginia. He's more or less not been fighting this whole time. His guys have been held in
They're
reserve.
well rested,
They're well
right?
rested. He has an entire division of men.
12,000 men.
Yeah. He is going to lead the infantry assault on the center of the Union lines. He has to cross the killing field. It doesn't go well.
No.
Everyone knows it's not going to go well. Everyone except Lee, it seems like.
Do you think
Longstreet.
They made him seem very incompetent.
Now this is in the movie. It almost feels like there's like Lee like took a dive practically. Like that's how like
He's like, I have to do this for honor's sake,
yeah,
for
it's
my
like
pride.
Everyone's telling him no.
it's
Yeah.
it's like idiotic to the point where it almost looks like he lost the war on purpose.
It's
Like,
but,
that's how,
but it's like he has such a belief in that God is with them. You know, that's what I think it is.
I think
You
the
think?
movie made him look more foolish than he was. That's what I think.
well, look, he fucked up the battle.
This is a bad move.
it
Like,
was.
I
It was.
like
I'm more so the reasoning that he was like. Of course, it's a movie. You can't put every little detail. But if you're having a conversation with one of your generals saying his concerns, and you just go like, "That'll be all. I don't care."
You'll trust in my plan, sir.
I feel like that there might have been a little more back and forth in those moments, and like
Lee, I must tell
Yeah.
you straight.
no 15,000 men ever made are going to take that bridge.
today.
It's directly from the movie.
Yeah, Longstreet's slow to give the order. So
Doesn't Longstreet never actually even say it? Like he can't bring
nods.
himself to.
he
nods,
nods
yeah.
at Pickett like, go. Yeah.
He
doesn't wanna
said
do
you know
it.
the plan, go
Doesn't
do
wanna
it.
do it.
I can't bring myself to give you.
This order.
You're
out loud.
losing at minimum half your.
He's like, I can't
Infantry.
condemn all of these young boys.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah.
So they get slaughtered. There's a couple of different whoa.
Did you get it?
No, I don't think so.
There's a fly.
So for the first couple of yards of this march, there's no firing from the Union lines. They've decided to trick them
To wait.
into thinking that their bombardment has worked. They've scattered them.
Mhm.
The cannons have to be moved. They're not ready to fire on them. It's a trick. They wait for them to get in the opportune distance.
Light to their eyes.
Not that close, but into the killing zone.
Mhm.
And they open fire at once. There's all kinds of different shots being fired. You got the standard cannonball. You've got shrapnel shot that they shoot over on
Which
top
is
of
new,
them.
right?
Yeah, brand new. They explode in the air and then shrapnel rains on them. And finally, to most devastating effect, canister shot. And this is really good when they get closer. Canister is essentially a packet of little balls, little metal balls
Mhm.
that act like a shotgun.
Mhm.
So you've turned the
Okay.
cannon into a massive shotgun that sprays,
Oh god.
Bullets everywhere.
anti-personnel
Yeah.
bullets
Oof.
everywhere. There's a moment in the movie where a couple of guys get canister shot right to their face, like right in front of the cannon. You remember this?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're running on to go over the
like
ridge.
the cannon's being
And it's
overwhelmed
right
Yeah,
there, and he
yeah.
just pulls it, and you see like 6 people go down.
Now, believe it or not, in one spot, the Confederates actually do break through the Union line.
Really?
Yes. Some cavalry guys get through. I believe it's Ambrose. Ambrose is the dude who we didn't talk about, but they have this whole plot line in the movie where he's trying to contact his friend Hancock on the opposite side.
His brother.
His dearest friend in the world.
One wore blue, the other gray.
They are swallowed up. You know, once after they break through, it's to very little effect, and they get repulsed. I don't know how many men die. We should.
I have it up.
What are the casualties?
Casualties
for Pickett's charge.
For Pickett's charge. So for the U.S., 1,500 killed and wounded.
Union.
That's a lot.
Casualties for the other side. 1,100 killed, 4,000 wounded, and just about 4,000 captured.
It's comparable.
The kills,
is that the whole battle or no?
That's just Pickett's charge.
Wow. Just Pickett's charge.
Wow. The Union took a fucking hammering.
Well, no, they lost 1,500 killed and wounded.
Oh, 1,500.
1,500.
I'm thinking 15,000.
No, 1,500 killed and wounded compared to...
But they killed...
20,000.
No.
They knocked out almost...
Yeah.
This is just Pickett's charge. So
they lost 1,500 and they killed 11,000.
No, they killed
1,100,
but they wounded 4,000 and captured 4,000.
Yeah. So they took out almost 10,000 men from that army.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Devastating.
Just, nuts.
There's no recovering from it. The invasion of the North must be abandoned.
War is over, basically.
War's not over. It goes on for another 2 years.
The chances of a Confederate
victory is out of reach.
Yes.
For the Confederacy. Yeah. This is it. You're not winning.
Yeah, that was their one shot, one opportunity.
Yeah.
To seize everything they ever wanted.
Right.
Knees weak. Lee is heavy. Pickett's charge going up the hill already. The bombs are ready. There's no spaghetti.
Yeah. There's no
the Italians haven't rioted on the shores. Yeti.
Yeah, there was no eye tides in this, right?
Very few, if any.
A handful,
maybe like 5.
Yeah, Amerigo Vespucci.
Don't speak English. They don't know what's going on. They're all confused.
See. Yeah, that's the end of Gettysburg.
Well, I like the scene where Lee is like, we will redeploy. Like he's like finally like accepted that they have to regroup and all this.
He apologizes to everyone.
Yeah.
They don't accept it.
And they're like, no, it's not your fault. He's like, the fault is mine.
It's all my fault.
That was another scene that was like so confusing and drawn out is when he walks out and he's like waving to the men. But it goes on for like 5 minutes of them like cheering for Lee.
Oh, rallying the troops.
They've lost no faith in him.
Yeah.
I think it was like it was before the charge.
He's still Grandpa Lee.
It was just a drawn out scene.
There's a great moment where Pickett comes back. You must look to your division, sir.
I have no division.
That's the moment I think in the movie they portray where Lee knows
he realizes what he's done.
Yeah.
He knows what he's done and he knows they're fucked.
The blood was on his hands.
So the movie at the end, they do like a recap of where everybody kind of ended up in life.
Yeah.
Chamberlain like becomes like king of Maine.
Yeah, he becomes like the governor.
He's like the governor. Yeah, he like runs a college. He got the Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
Well, he was injured 5 times.
Yeah.
After that, I believe. Like
his war ain't over.
Yeah, he went to the end.
Yeah, all these guys, you know, that don't die keep fighting.
Yes.
The 2 guys who are friends, Hancock and Ambrose, both die. Right?
Yes. No, Hancock does not.
Hancock doesn't die.
They're both
Hancock
shot.
runs for president.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
They're both shot.
They're shot and wounded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fun little tidbit. I'm not sure the details of it, but that guy Sickle who took the peach orchard and fucked up. At some point in the future, he shoots his wife's lover that she's cheating on him with, who happens to be Francis Scott Key's son.
Whoa.
Or grandson, one of them. Yeah.
Small world. And Lee He died shortly after, right?
Lee?
Yeah.
No.
No, I mean, well, he goes through the war. He
After
surrenders.
After the war, he died. What was it?
I think he died in
3
the
years after?
1870s.
He died in Appomattox. Well, not died. I'm sorry.
what?
He surrendered.
Yes,
Appomattox.
yes. He was executed.
Grant, he put his head on a pike. He died 1870.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, shortly after the
like
war
7
ended.
years
Yeah.
after this.
Yeah.
But
Well, after the war ended, he died shortly after.
5 years
Right,
after the war.
yeah.
That's
he was a
short.
big guy after the war for
veterans.
and I'm looking for the word reconciliation.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
I mean, it's by his order that there isn't just guerrilla
War
fighting
forever.
forever. Yeah.
because he could have said that.
Yeah. If he said keep fighting, believe me, a ton of them would.
Yeah, no matter what.
Let me ruin America forever.
Yeah.
Let me turn us into Afghanistan. Yeah.
And that's really it.
That's Gettysburg.
So what do you
Okay.
guys rate this?
It's tough.
It's a tough one to
It's
rate.
not perfect,
No,
No,
but it is great, and I love every minute of it.
But
I'm giving it a 9.
it is also kind of boring at times.
That's fine.
there are little trims I think they could have made that
It would have been better.
Like, all right, so like the scene where Lee is like rallying the men, right?
Mhm.
So it shows him rallying. Then it cuts to another angle of him still rallying.
yeah. There's no reason.
And it's like it does some things like that where it's like we got the gist of it,
Mhm.
and you
Move
could
on.
speed it
Yeah.
up a bit.
yeah.
But I still love it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 9 too.
9.
It's fucking awesome.
Steve?
I'm going a little lower. Just because. I mean, I mentioned my gripes.
Yeah.
I want more violence. I don't need that much over the top details in these situations where it doesn't add to the story or feeling, really. 7.5.
Okay.
Wow.
7.5. Yeah.
Okay.
I would watch it anytime. But
I don't think it's.
I wouldn't watch it anytime. It's a hard movie to
Yeah.
get through. You
This
just-
is like once every 15 years, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll
you
watch
know?
it again. But
unless you're Schaefer, where you watch it every
every
week.
day and make a whole album about it.
So
And
the,
visit all the time.
song for the movie,
It's
Gettysburg by
Yeah.
Iced Earth. Yeah.
There's no other option. There
Yeah.
is no
3 parts.
other option.
3-parter. I really hope. I hope. An Ice.
I hope
Earth
someone's never heard it and goes and listens to it.
and then re-listens to us and is like, everything we said was from a song.
Oh my god, that fucking.
I hope someone clips everything
We're
you guys
almost.
said.
We're just a few days away from our annual listening.
Oh,
of
I
the
know,
Glorious
yeah.
Burden.
That's why this
Is that why you
out.
picked this?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
It's coming out on the day of the battle, July 3rd.
July 3rd.
Yeah.
I know
The
what
high watermark.
I know what this
Exactly.
is. I know what this is.
Yeah.
It is the charge. Down the hill.
That's the worst bayonet I've ever seen.
It's not a bayonet. It's
It's supposed to be a bayonet.
that's not what bayonets look like.
That's a triangle.
That's a triangle with the line. I don't know what that is, man. You know what? Oh, you know what it looks like? It looks like the saber with the hilt, and you're like putting it forward. There's no trees.
I
Which I'm
knew
really
if I
sad
drew
about.
the trees, I couldn't
It would
do
just
the
be a
men.
jumbled mess.
Yeah.
In fact, there's no guns that in anyone's hands,
Well, they're out of ammo.
but there is the movement marks of people running.
Yeah, to let you know
That's what
they're
it is?
going.
Okay.
Yeah. I tried to keep it clean so you guys.
Is that the
could-
first time you've added physics into
I've
your
added the
artistic
lines before,
impressions?
but usually you guys are like, it looks like ball hairs or something.
So this is the first successful physics.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say ball.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Watch, subscribe, do that thing, share. Do we allow people to clip us? I gotta double check.
I don't have it.
Because I know there's some podcasts that are like, if you want to clip, go ahead.
Oh,
I don't care if
yeah.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I want them to take all you guys singing the lyrics to the song
Yeah.
and clip it and put it into Gettysburg.
Oh my god.
I want somebody to go in and just clip you out of the whole episode.
Reviewing history sans Brian.
What is this, Opie and Anthony?
Nopey.
Nopey. That's what they call it, right? They just cut out Opie. Nothing changes.
Very little. Some may call it an improvement.
All right, Brian.
All right,
You know what to
ready?
do.
Want to give a big thank you to everybody listening and or
More
watching.
Southern.
I want to give a big thank you to everybody listening and or watching our mighty fine podcast.
He does a good Southern accent.
It's very aristocratic.
Yeah. I think I'm just doing characters.
My
from the
dearest
movie.
Penelope.
Yeah. My dearest listeners, I am writing to
It is
you.
with a heavy heart that I must bid you adieu on this fine podcast comes to a close.
I would like you to keep appraised of all our ongoings and everything we do on this
Comings,
show.
outgoings.
Right.
Please
Now,
like
don't
and
be weary
subscribe.
now. Don't be weary now. We will be back.
Ring that bell to get notifications, I declare.
And friends, I must inform you that the Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast is we are much appreciated.
Much obliged.
Much obliged.
Fine gentlemen are Walt Flanagan, Brian Johnson, Brian Quinn, and a Mr. Get 'em Steve Dave. Mighty fine folks.
And happy birthday to that Southern doll, Jimmy.
Go to reviewandhistorypod.com. Buy some merch. Do some commerce and business with us.
We must engage in commerce to keep our heads above water, as it were.
We are but simple podcasters.
Now, I bid you good day, sir.
Yeah. Follow me personally on all social media at Brian Rupert, all that shit. Like, subscribe.
All that
Review History Pod on Twitter, Reviewing History Pod everywhere else. Follow me personally on all social media at Brian Rupert. That's with 2 P's. Follow me on Letterboxd. I rank review every single movie I watch, even the ones in my personal life. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Have a happy 4th of July, unless you're a filthy foreigner. Bye.
Filthy foreigner.
I am the P-Man!